Hey everybody, welcome to Earth Revolution. I'm your host Susan Shann. We are the home of the green scene here in Nashville, Tennessee. And as always is the case, I have a great guest with me tonight. This is Mark Schwartz. Hey Mark.
Good to see you, Sue.
Good to see you, Mark. Welcome to the show. Mark is an architect and he is also the founder of a group called greenMARK Collaborative that gets involved in renewable energy projects and architectural projects. We're going to be talking a little bit about what that is. And I'm going to ask you, and also I want to talk about the Sustainable Turnkey Coalition, which is something I would not want to have to say 10 times fast, but and what that means, and let people know about some of the opportunities that that offers for nonprofits, because I think that's pretty exciting. Let me start, Mark, by just, if you would, tell me a little bit about your background as an architect. I know you were...
well, I've been, for a decade, I was the principal architect for the state of Tennessee. Yeah. And just recently was city architect for Metro Nashville.
Okay.
And in both of those governments, I managed their energy and environmental projects.
Okay.
So I've kind of made that transition back into private practice, and that's what I'm doing now.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So when you were no longer working for, I think Metro was where you were, you said, for the last 10 years. Mm. And you decided that you wanted to put together this collaborative. That was essentially your idea.
Yes. We saw what, we were all trained in college to do solar projects and do green things type things, and now here 30 years later, that's kind of come to the forefront, so justified with going to college, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And this collaborative is a design, build, and operate consortium.
Okay.
We're all Tennessee based, architects, engineers, building manufacturers, suppliers. If we have to get real heavy steel, we have to go down to Alabama to get that. But we try to do what I call one-stop shopping. Mm-hmm. Because what the problems we found in doing sustainable projects is it's no good as I, as an architect or designer, design it green. Mm-hmm. I turn it over a contractor to build it green, and I give it to you, Susan, and you don't know how to operate it green. Yeah. So we try to commission those projects and get them to where they maintain their greenness, I guess is a way of saying it.
Okay. And then are you able to, like for instance, if somebody knows that they want a green project, but maybe they're a business owner, maybe they don't really know a lot about what that involves. They don't know a lot about what energy sources are available or what kind of passive daylighting or, you know, whether they should have solar panels, what kind of insulation. You pretty much sit down with them and map it out. As an architect, you give them the design plan, you explain every step of that.
Well, we do what's called a sustainability survey.
Okay.
It's kind of like a market survey. We go in and we look at all the opportunities and all the challenges they might have. Solar may not be what they need, right? It might be energy conservation. You spoke in an earlier show about weatherization. There's some great things that we can conserve our way out of a lot of these problems that we have.
Right.
But we take a holistic approach. And we say, okay, Mr. Client, Ms. Client, here's what we see as your opportunities. Here's your challenges. You tell us what your mission is. I'm not going to tell you that this technology is what you need to do.
You can guide them, but you're not
we're guiding them.
Yeah.
One of the problems in designing to certain standards, LEED or Earthcraft Home, is that's a third-party certification.
Right. And
I can't guarantee that the best design and the best construction is going to achieve that. So it's a goal, it's a mission, it's an opportunity. And in putting together this collaborative, that's what we do. We try to put that whole approach to it and give them some mechanisms to say, if you want to achieve this, this is how we do it.
Right, and you can employ those third-party systems of certification if they request that, but that's not necessarily.
It's not necessary.
Always part of what you do.
Yeah, it's again, if you're doing federal projects, it's required. LEED Silver is that level. If you're doing anything with stimulus money, if it's a building project that's going to be designed to a certain higher code or international standard. If you heard President Gore speak at the U.S. Green Building Council, a green build here recently, he talked about the need for a federal codes and legislations that basically on all 50 states, on all projects, have the same standard so that we're not going from state to state and trying to figure out, well, what meets this requirement. And of course, every state has a different climate, a different situation, a different energy source.
Yeah. Get everybody on the same page.
Get everybody on the same page.
The same thing they're talking about with energy, with the renewable portfolio standards. It's like let's have a standard across the board that
it's not a one solar doesn't solve all the problems, or wind in certain areas doesn't solve all the problems. You've got to have a combination of all these renewable resources to put together, and have a good complement that way. That's kind of what we do. We try to complement the project.
Okay, tell me a little bit about the Sustainable Turnkey Coalition and what that offers.
Well, what we found is, with the economy kind of stagnated, most churches, universities, private schools have had capital campaigns, giving campaigns, and that's stopped. People stopped donating.
Yeah.
You know, they're
the
living out of their front
tight,
pocket, so to speak. And so we formed the Sustainable Turnkey Coalition that has some unique financing mechanisms that really doesn't cost that not-for-profit anything to do the project. They can still keep their capital campaign. They just pay the interest on the money they're borrowing.
Okay.
We gift some insurance policies, so to speak, to collateralize the loans. But what we do also set up is a trust or a foundation to capture the federal and the state incentives that as a non-for-profit they couldn't get.
Okay.
And so when the project is paid down, if it's a 20-year bond, they may pay the project down in 6 or 8 years. The next 12 years or so, or to the end of those 20-year bonds, is they have 2 new revenue streams that they didn't have. Renewable energy credits, carbon credits, those type of things that the trust basically becomes theirs.
Okay.
So it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, it sounds like it is. So this is something that any nonprofit is eligible to apply for, and they don't have to have the money up front. If they want to have, let's say, okay, let's just take the easiest example. They want solar panels on the roof. They can actually come to you with that request and see if they're qualified under the criteria that you're setting up for that.
Exactly.
And then you work with them to create this way of capturing federal tax rebates and stuff that they wouldn't qualify for as a nonprofit. And so they're able to pay it down through the energy and through the rebates?
Well, it doesn't even have to be a renewable energy. That's just kind of icing on the cake because, again, being a not-for-profit, they can't get those credits.
Right, okay.
So that just helps pay the project down quicker. We're doing a project here for a university in West Tennessee where we just basically refinance some of their high-interest debt through this financing mechanism. Okay. But we're finding that churches, which are really only used a couple of times a week, type of thing. There's some great opportunities that's certainly for solar. I'm making solar all the time, so I'm keeping that bill down. Right. I'm keeping that cost that could go towards missions or other fellowship halls or other projects. Yeah, maybe even. And like I say, this thing we've created is really geared to our tight economy. Wow.
And there's so much more that I'd like to know about it, but I know we're running low on time. So what I'm going to say for now is we definitely want to have you back on the show.
Be honored.
Definitely want to talk more about both projects, the greenMARK Collaborative and Sustainable Turnkey Coalition. And I know you're in the process of building a website.
Yes.
So if people want to contact you, they're going to have to wait, and that'll be under greenmarkcollaborative.com?
.com, .net, and .info.
Okay.
That first of the year.
All right, that's exciting. I can't wait to hear more. Folks, I'm here with Mark Schwartz. Thanks, Mark, for being on the show.
It's an honor.
Yes, it is. It's an honor to have you. Architect and founder of greenMARK Collaborative, and we will be talking to him again. In the meanwhile, I'm your host, Susan Shann, for the show Earth Revolution. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time. Peace, love, and recycling.